So this past weekend I sat down and I was like, hey, I'm gonna play me some WoW Classic for a bit. So I sat down and waited. Okay, maybe I should fast forward. I was actually having a good time. Leveling, dying, dying. Oop, soul shard. My wife comes in and she's like, hey honey, I need some help. I'm like, no man, I'm in the groove. My wife comes back later, she's like, hey, what's for dinner? I tell her red speckled mushrooms. Later on, my wife comes back and she's like, hey, mom's sick. I told her to come back when she's too sick. Then she tells me, hey, there's a new PTR build for WoW. Gotta scoot over. Okay. Hey, it's Soul with another video, and I'm very, very happy to report that actually she was kidding. There wasn't. But she thanked me for taking a shower. Ha. Shut up. Hey, it's Soul, and welcome back to another episode of Warcraft Weekly. Unfortunately, there's no PTR build again this week for the current World of Warcraft, so come back another time, I guess. I wouldn't be able to bring you awesome content without the...
It's awesome?
No, it's super awesome?
That's better.
I would not be able to give you super awesome content without the help of our wonderful supporters over on Patreon and over on Twitch. We have some new additions to the family. Let's give a big warm welcome to Anthony and to, Fel Plagu. Hey, what's up, bro? There is still plenty of Warcraft news to go over, including speculating a little bit on BlizzCon 2019. But first, we continue our ongoing coverage of World of Warcraft Classic because, come on, let's face it, this is the hotness. Who cares about stupid things like climate change? Pfft. No one wants to hear my thoughts on our political dystopia and that Nicki Minaj is retiring. Oh, I guess she is. No, stop it. We've got more important stuff to do. There's a whole world out there to rediscover. Characters to meet for the first time again, a rich land full of life and wonder, hundreds of quests to explore the lore of Azeroth, and...
Hey, look, a guild beat Molten Core.
Wait, what?
And Onyxia.
But like, I'm still trying to... down. Oh. Okay. Just this past weekend, European guild Apes completed Molten Core over 100 days faster than the previous world first kill back in vanilla. And then, just a few hours later, downed Onyxia. You know, when I first wrote this piece, it was more or less a joke. Classic isn't about the destination, because it's an empty, hideous existence. It's all about the journey, and breaking that journey down into mathematical perfection. The fact of the matter really is that Apes is comprised of the best, born into vanilla, raised and forged under the iron hammer of private server gameplay, yeah. Average folk like me, meanwhile, are just plodding along. But what we all share in common is that we're all playing the World of Warcraft the way we want to. And that's worth celebrating, so a huge grats to them, and one more grats to Joker D, the first person in the world to level to 60 in WoW Classic. And just my opinion, just coming from me, I think there should be an NPC of him put in game. Nothing big, nothing crazy, just have him facing this mailbox out in front of Goldshire. That's actually in reference to him trying to delete his mail so he can delete his character, because what else are you supposed to do when you've been immortalized? I have to admit though that at some psychological level that this must have gotten to some people's heads. How many of you have seen in forums and other discussion threads that's
it won't be as easy as you think, retail cucks.
Okay, that's not a real quote, but that sort of sums up the... Okay, I don't think anyone said anything close to that. But I'm certain that it must bother some people, that even if you have like less hardcore aspirations in Classic, seeing the sights and sucking in the nostalgia has been ever so slightly affected by the super try-hard private server know-it-alls, who've stripped the game down to its most vulnerable, naked state. Over the next few weeks, more and more players are going to clear Molten Core and Onyxia, they're going to start getting gear, and of course they will lord it over us, the rabble, the common folk. And I think that, for the most part, we'll be okay with it. We'll just look at them and be like, oh wow, that's nice, cool. While some more of you might not be able to do that because you might still be in queue, let's talk about that. We're starting to approach the end of week 2 in Classic WoW. Fortunately, the queues are starting to really come down, unless you're on a few select realms where those players are stubborn and they refuse to leave. First and foremost, this whole mess is really Blizzard's fault. I'm sure they did what they thought was their best, but they really should have been watching the community's reaction, especially among streamers who all wanted to play on the same realm.
Yeah, streamers, that was fucking genius.
I actually wrote a really long spiel. It was like a 6-minute thing on what I think Blizzard should have done to make World of Warcraft Classic's launch a lot smoother. But then after taking a look at it,
it was crap.
It was crap. And then I thought of something better. Instead of doing what they did, Blizzard could have followed this suggestion, and trust me, you're either going to love or hate this. Actually, seriously, you're more than likely going to hate this, but they could have done a promotion, specifically a pre-order. That's right, pre-order. So let's say if you sign up for a 3-month subscription to the World of Warcraft, which by the way is different from buying 3 months of game time, so suck it up WoW token users, and the WoW token store isn't even in Classic anyway, so boom. That will be the requirement to make you eligible to reserve your name a week in advance. There would have still been a ton of people signing up, and there would have been a massive outcry from the anti-pre-order crowd.
You can't say no to free advertising.
And Blizzard would bank off your nostalgia. However, there would probably be fewer people who signed up early. To play it safe, Blizzard also should have locked realms like Faralina that had like 10 times the realm cap, but well, that's all hindsight fanfiction wishful thinking, so instead, let's cut to this week, when Blizzard opened up a few realms designed specifically for overpacked realms like Faralina, Harad, and Whitemane. Hey, how you doing? Along with that, they announced free transfers from those realms to the new ones. Right now, we're seeing a test of wills. Who's gonna tough it out? Or who's gonna bitch out and just be like, oh god, I wanna play? Because the players in the, oh god, I wanna play camp can choose to either go to these new realms and possibly risk being on a dead realm, or they can just try re-rolling a brand new tune on one of the more stable medium pop realms. Personally, I've never been in that situation, but I don't like queues, so I'd go somewhere. But again, if I was by myself, I would more than likely just re-roll to a brand new server, try it all over again. If I happen to have my whole guild with me though, then of course I'd want to talk with them, but then I would probably consider having us all move so that we could all play together and not have to deal with those damn queues. But a realm like Faralina is definitely one to watch. It's kind of like one of those social experiments where you get to see just how long people are able to put up with crap. And in this case, it's how much would people rather be with their favorite streamer or their fandom. Blizzard recently revealed that as of now, all realms have a single-digit number of layers, with most of them at a quote low single-digit number. That translates to, without layering, all realms would have a queue. Harad and Faralina, as well as the EU equivalents, have many times that amount. As far as I've looked, I haven't seen just how long these transfers are going to be in place. I know I've been asking this question a lot, but I gotta keep asking you folks in the queue and on the loo. Oh, I really just thought of that one. But anyway, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna move? Are you gonna stay? What? Speaking of what, let's get to the what of the week, where I make too big of a deal of the nothings and other happenings going on in the World of Warcraft. Over the past week, reports and rumors have been flying about regarding the abuse of layering, the technology that you hate and yet is preventing these from being so much worse than they could possibly be. Over the past few months during the Classic Beta, we've seen videos of potential layering abuse. Where I come from, they call that testing. But now that we've been live for almost 2 weeks, the Classic community was quite scared to see a post like this. Guy has literally greater than 3,000 arcane crystals that are obtained via the layering exploit. I saw somebody with nearly 1,000 Black Lotus. If you didn't know, these things are absolutely gold. At this point, I don't doubt people have 1 million gold worth of items due to these exploits. Fix this. I've been told that the method to determine your unique layer has now been figured out, and boy oh boy, it is easy. What? Dude, you can't say factually that these items are going to be worth 1 million gold. It's really basic economics. If this guy posted all those arcane crystals now, he ain't gonna get no 1 million gold. Even the biggest markets in Classic don't have 1 million gold flying all over the place. I mean, consider the fact that there's still a lot of people leveling to 60. They're going to be getting their mount training, their advanced mount training. That's going to take a lot of gold out of the market. On top of that, arcane crystals. Like, what are arcane crystals used for? Transmuting Arcanite, which has a 2-day cooldown. As of this recording, WoW Classic is 10 days old. So by the time you level up blacksmithing, rep up, get a bunch of recipes, and make enough Arcanite to make anything, there's a reasonable chance that you joined a random pub to do a run of Molten Core or Onyxia.
Yeah, but they said professions are useful in Classic.
Yeah, to make money off suckers. I'm obviously exaggerating, but you get my point. Anyway, Blizzard responded to this, and I'm gonna throw this image back up. It turns out they investigated the matter and found out that nope, no one is running around with these kinds of resources. On top of that, there aren't nearly as many layers as people have been making it out to be.
Wait, Are you saying that people on the internet that they lied to me?
There, Bob. Dude, suck it up. All that stuff aside with the discussions on layering and how easy or hard the game is, Classic's doing well. It had a record-breaking launch and it continues to generate plenty of hype. The other 5 phases of Classic are still something to look forward to, even though we know everything that's coming. Thanks to guilds like Apes, what we get is gonna get knocked down pretty quickly. Which makes us look forward to the unknown, or at least, well, it's the sort of unknown. I fully expect, even as soon as BlizzCon, Blizzard is going to say yes to a classic Burning Crusade, but they're not going to say another word after that. Well, other than, oh, we're going to listen to the community, blah blah blah. So let's discuss that for a quick second. Burning Crusade Classic isn't really a question of if, but it's definitely a question of how. Should Vanilla Classic progress to the Burning Crusade? Or should players be able to copy their character onto a Burning Crusade server so that way people can swap between either game? Or should players initiate like this one-way transfer from Vanilla to the Burning Crusade? Or, and I just thought of this one this week, should Blizzard create special realms a couple of months in advance that start out as Vanilla, but then at launch the Dark Portal opens and then you get BC? I thought this one up because I'm not very fond of the idea of just copying your character and then being able to play it freely on Classic or Burning Crusade. On the flip side, it would be a bit odd to have a fresh realm with a fresh economy that only has a couple of months before the Dark Portal opens and BC opens there. So I'd like to hear some of your preferences there. That's not all though. There's a low grumble, kind of a whispering over the notion of Classic Plus.
Will they have Bob's in Classic Plus?
Nope.
Classic Cuss.
I feel basically the same way about Classic Cuss. All of this discussion about adding more stuff to Classic content, it's been a little bit murky. Like what could or should be added to Vanilla? New quests, new raids or dungeons, new armor pieces, places to explore? It's all been pretty vague, and in my opinion, any suggestions like this, all these things are going to be stonewalled because players will demand one thing first and foremost, and that's, well, at least in my opinion, it's more than likely going to be that they want rebalancing of the classes. It would seem pretty boring if content was added, but the meta never changed. I identify myself as one of those classic tourists, the type that just kind of comes in, see what's up, come in when I'm bored, and then bounce. The last thing that I want to feel is the pressure to do content that I did like 15 years ago just for the sake of going into a new zone. But this is the kind of conversation that I don't think is going to be very relevant at all until Phase 6, when Naxxramas comes out, when all that stuff's in the wild. I swear, I'm going to die on this hill, but I absolutely stand by my prediction that the true endgame for World of Warcraft Classic is going to be people PvPing the crap out of each other. Fighting to see how long people hold on to High Warlord or Grand Marshal before they burn out in a blaze of glory, and then the next person stands atop their corpse and claims victory. It sounds like lots of fun to talk and read about. I definitely won't do it. So as Blizzard gathers up all this sweet subscription cash, it comes to no surprise that they're going to try to claim some other revenue streams too. In this case, expansion boxes. You can get a copy of Battle for Azeroth, aka a character boost, for half off. I get it, you can call it a Blizzard cash grab. Like I said earlier though, I just call it a cheap boost. On a quick note, the Mythic Hall of Fame for the Eternal Palace has just been completed. On the Horde side, as usual. Slowly but surely, guilds have been conquering the deep, and with the slow rollout of nerfs, there's more to come. How's the Alliance side faring so far? Okay, I'm already at the bottom of the page. I should get out of here. And the final item for today, Blizzard released the key art for this year's BlizzCon 2019. This time featuring none other than Sylvanas Windrunner. Just like every year we see the key art, speculation is abound, so I'd better join in too. Notice that this is one of those shots that purposefully cut off the lower part of your body so you...
It's because she's dead, yay! She's gonna get quartered and scattered throughout the land.
Yeah, probably not. Last year's key art featured Saurfang, and as a follow-up, one cinematic after another throughout this expansion featured the famous orc. So this begs the question, will we see more high-res Sylvanas cinematics? And if so, can we see what's under her hood already? I just want to see how much of that hair turns out to be fake. That ought to be a wrap for today, and man, I am starving for a PTR build right now. To be frank, I wouldn't be surprised if functionally, like the features that we get like Party Sync and the new Group Finder, Guild Finder stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if that's all we get, but I am dying to see some models and story bits and other leaked information. Stuff like this is a tease. It makes it clear that Blizzard was just kind of front-loading a lot of cool stuff to get us all enticed, and then boom, classic WoW. So I get it. We're still in the classic honeymoon phase, but come on, Blizzard, throw me a bone. Give me a tease over on like Twitter, like a little something.
Well, you did just mention this.
Yeah, well, I devoured that faster than classic content. I know that this week was pretty light on video content. I think I just put most of my brain power into that big old feedback presentation. It was on how the World of Warcraft can change in the future to help reinvigorate its community while respecting today's conveniences. So if you haven't seen it yet, watch it. I hear that it's pretty good. Next week I'll try to be a little bit more productive and probably a little more lighthearted. So I think what I'll do, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna look at these Blizzard leaks and I'm gonna tear them apart. Or at least I'll try to. Should be fun. So thanks for coming. Stay tuned, like, and subscribe for more of this and all things Warcraft. I'll see you next week. Until then, stay safe, stay happy, and stay breezy.